Well, boys, that was terrible. We've just lost 4-1 to Spurs. We're going to be breaking the game down, talking about the tactics, talking about some comments from the players after the game and what went wrong and how we can bounce back. If you are enjoying the content, leave a like, subscribe down below, comment your thoughts on the game. Let's talk Spurs 4, Villa 1. Stats up on the screen. As you can see, we were safely and soundly beaten. We only had one shot on target, which was Morgan Rogers' goal to put us 1-0 up in the first half to Tottenham's 6. I think the cat is going to knock a cardboard box off the bin, which is always handy. They have 15 shots to our 10, more possession than us, way more corner kicks than us as well, and their keeper didn't even have to make a save the entire game as they beat us 4-1. First half was okay, 1-0 at half time. It wasn't terrible, but we were just getting battered, and I don't know. This is kind of what happened last season against Tottenham when they beat us 4-0. I don't know why, but Emery just seems to be really scared of the way that Postecoglou sets his teams up, and we were just sitting deep. But unlike in the Champions League, where we got away with it against Bayern Munich and we looked really solid, really compact, and didn't really give them any chances, this game we just looked very, very open. Slightly better in the first half. Did go 1-0 up, corner comes through to Morgan Rogers, decent little toe poke to get it in. It's exactly what you needed, and his fine run of form continues. But that second half, that might have been like the worst I've seen Villa play in a long time. That might have been worse than when I went to watch us lose 2-1 to Stevenage in the FA Cup a couple of years ago. Like, it was woeful. And the fact that we threw away the Carabao Cup, rested 10 players, got knocked out of that competition against a lower opposition in Crystal Palace, who are, in the relegation zone, they must be, to go out and just put in that absolute stinker of a performance against Spurs, really, I think, leaves a bit of a sour taste in Villa fans' mouth. They have a sour taste in my mouth. I mean, that second half, honestly, we were atrocious. No patterns of play, defensively all over the place, gaps everywhere. The defence just didn't look like a unit. Cash came off, Constantine moved out to the right. He played Solanke onside. Their first goal could have been cleared. The free kick that was given away for their fourth goal, just an awful free kick to give away. Pau Torres, we're going to get onto him a little bit later, but he is on fraud watch, I'm afraid, my friend. He just is so weak physically. So weak. But in terms of the overall performance, player ratings wise, we had a couple of decent performances. I thought Amadou Onana was a bright spark for me. Rogers got his goal. Tielemans was just typical Tielemans in that game. But apart from that, genuinely, I think it showed a lot of weaknesses in our team. Now, I don't want to overreact and say this is going to be the start of an unwinding of our season and we need to start panicking and, raise the alarms, we're going downhill. I don't think that's the case. It's a really bad performance to lose by that amount of goals. We're now out of the top 4. It was a golden opportunity to go 1 point behind Manchester City, but this is Villa heritage, isn't it? When the teams above us lose, we just can't capitalise. It's the same old story. But the manner of the loss, I just really hope this isn't going to knock the confidence a lot, because our defence was terrible. Literally no one in that defence played well that game, and our defence has been a real weak point for us in the Premier League this whole season. I don't think there's many teams that have conceded more goals rather than us. We're at the top of conceding goals in the Premier League, and I don't understand, because we've got good individual players, but I just don't understand what's going on with our defence this season. You can point fingers. Is it because Douglas Luiz has gone? Well, no, we've replaced him with a better defensive midfielder in Onana, who'd done his part in that game. Is it tactics? I don't know. We sat really deep. A team's starting to figure out how to exploit our sort of narrow defence and our low block. I can't put my finger on what it is, but our defence honestly looked like a defence of a relegation team in that second half. To ship 4 goals, I don't care if it's Spurs. I don't care if they have players like Heung-min Son and Dominic Solanke. You shouldn't be conceding 4 goals and a half of football in the Premier League, especially not if you want to finish in the top 4. So that was really, really worrying for me. In terms of player ratings, I'll chuck them up on the screen. Emi Martinez, I'll have to give a 5. You can't concede that many goals and get a good rating. Luca Digne, 4. Just nothing going forward. I think his time in these types of games might be coming to a close, because Matson's quicker, younger, more dynamic. And he gave the ball away a couple of times for me, way too easy. Pau Torres, I'll have to give a 1. I really just think he's so physically weak. And you get away with that more in the Champions League. You get more time on the ball. It's not as physical in the Champions League because you're playing these European sides. I've heard pundits say that for years and years, that the Premier League is a lot quicker and more physical than these other leagues, and in the Champions League in particular. But in the Premier League this season, for me, Pau Torres is being seriously found out, and I don't know how much longer we can give him the nod over Mings if Mings can get back to where he was, because physically our defence just looks so pathetic. Ezri Konsa, I'd have to give a 3. Had little flashes of the Ezri Konsa that we know, but again, you can't concede that many goals. Matty Cash, 1. I genuinely don't know what he offers to this team. There was a free kick where we played it short out wide to Matty Cash. Perfect opportunity to whip it in the box. What does he do? Turn back and passes it to the centre-back. I don't know if he's a Make-A-Wish kid or an actual Premier League footballer. Maybe comment down below, because I'm actually not sure at this point. He needs to be replaced, big time. Moving into the midfield, Jacob Ramsey, 5, couple of decent runs, but for me, not quick enough to be a winger in the Premier League. We have no pace down the wing at the moment, and it's very, very frightening because we literally didn't create anything against Tottenham. The goal was lucky, let's be honest. Pedro Porro flicks it on, the keeper has to save it from being an own goal, and then we get a tap in. Apart from that, I don't even know if we created another clear-cut chance, to be honest with you. Moving into the midfield, Tielemans, I'll give a 6. He's done his thing. He's been our most important player for me this season. Onana, probably my man of the match from a Aston Villa perspective. Clearly, Spurs battered us. They have the man of the match. But he probably got an 8 for me. I thought he was really, really good defensively and had a couple of decent runs going forward. John McGinn, 2. I don't think he's good enough anymore. I made a couple of comments before this season started that I wasn't sure he was going to be in the starting lineup. Don't think he's good enough, especially to be out on that right-hand side. He offers nothing going forward. He just wants fouls all the time. All he does is back into players and hope for a foul. Loses the ball too much, not quick enough, not dynamic enough at the moment in this team. And then Watkins, 3. Scuffed his only chance of the game, and if you're a striker of his calibre, you need to be taking that chance. And then Rogers, a 6. Tried, got a goal, okay. In terms of the subs, though, none of them really done anything of note. And it might have just been enough D for everyone, but there's a couple of players, like I say, that are definitely on fraud watch. And one of those players on fraud watch for me, Pau Torres. Like I say, not physically strong enough. John McGinn, I just don't think he's performing anywhere near the levels that he did last season. And I know he's the captain and stuff like that. I think this is probably going to be his last season as captain, to be honest. I'm going to get onto that in a second as well. But just doesn't offer anything for me, especially out on the right-hand side. I think even out on the left-hand side, just doesn't offer anything. He's too slow. Him and Ramsey are not quick enough to be wingers in the Premier League, I'm afraid. They just don't offer anything going forward. And they just cut back. We're not getting balls into the box, and that's one of our main issues, I think, so far this season. We are not getting balls into the box, and that is killing us. Absolutely killing us. I mean, again, Matty Cash should never play for Villa again. I've been saying this for like a year. Pau Torres, Digne, I just don't know the answer. But it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Now we have to go play Club Brugge in Belgium. After Club Brugge, we have to go and play Liverpool in Liverpool. It's going to be a really tough week, and this is going to be a show of character. I think if we lose to Club Brugge and then get battered by Liverpool again, some serious questions are going to be asked as to the sustainability of our push this season, or are we just going to slip into mid-table obscurity? I really don't know. I really, really don't know. For me, it's highlighted that in January, we definitely need to strengthen our defence because we just can't keep on conceding this many goals. We need wingers. I think Moussa Diaby is a bigger loss than anyone thought he would be, especially with the form of Leon Bailey dipping. So I think we need wingers. We need a right-back, possibly another centre-back, a strong left-footed centre-back. Maatsen comes into the team. I mean, I don't know, but it was just a disgraceful performance. And then for John McGinn to come out and say, it's Spurs. Other teams will concede 4 here. We need to keep our heads held up high, and it got really loud. A Premier League captain saying we might have lost because the crowd cheered a little bit too loud for us. Do better, man.